Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy J Dash. This is Crash with Dash Art of Attraction Thursdays, and today we're going to talk about a very important topic. We're going to talk about, as the picture shows right there, the first date. Okay, so if you've been following along, you've gotten to the point where you have the courage, the confidence to introduce yourself to women. And those are in my previous episodes, building up your confidence and having the ability to introduce yourself to women of many facets of different types. Not all women are the same, and I'm not going to sit here and try to pretend that all women are the same. And so I've kind of shown you guys how to expand your network if you pay attention to some of the previous episodes. So today we're going to talk about a simple topic, the first date. And when we look at this picture here, we tend to think that this is the ideal first date. Okay, we see them, they're infatuated with each other to the point to where they're holding each other's hands and, oh, this is such a magical moment and all of these things. Well, I'm going to let you guys know that this right here is for the movies. This is not a realistic expectation you should have for a first date. I'm not saying that first dates can't turn into something special, but this should not be your expectation. There are many things wrong with this picture. We're going to come back to this picture to go over the things that are wrong with this picture. Okay? So let's start with the whole concept of a first date. Now, I think that this guy is doing way too much for a first date. And yes, there are some people who try to impress the opposite sex with, I guess, this sense of, I'm willing to spend this much money on you. Which, some people believe is a sign of, I'm trying to impress you. Well, you've got to remember, the impression is supposed to go both ways. Okay? The impression is supposed to go both ways. And you shouldn't be going out of your element to impress somebody. You should be staying within your element and impressing someone because you are who you are. Not with a fancy dinner, not, going, balls to the wall spending. I mean, look at the wine glasses on every table, all of these things. These are usually signs that these restaurants are kind of expensive. So this is not the way you want to do it, because at the end of the day, he walks away holding her hand after spending this much money on her. What if the date does not go well? So he spent all of this money and she gets a free meal off of your hard work. And this is vice versa. If you're a female who offers a guy out, remember, as I said, this is just one of those things where I just talk to the guys, but just replace the guy with yourself, and this should all make sense. She got a free dinner just so you could take her out, and then there's women, just keep this in mind, there are women who seek this out. They like to go on first dates with guys that they deem marks so they can get this expensive dinner for free. Alright, that's what they want, and they know they give nothing in return. So you don't know this person that you're taking out a first date. The reason you're taking her out on a date is because you're trying to get to know her. That's the reason you're taking her out on a date to begin with. So the fact you could be sitting there saying, oh, this girl would never do that. Well, you don't know because you don't know her. So don't pretend to know her. This is why you're taking her out on a date, so you can try to get to know her. So let me put up a more ideal picture of a first date, of what you should be going after. Boom. This is a much more idea picture of a good first date. Okay? Dress comfortably. As we could see, they're both dressed for the occasion. It's a cup of coffee. There's no big commitment. It's something that you can be in and out of in 30 minutes. Okay? A first date you want to have the time frame somewhere between 20 to 30 minutes. Sometimes dates do progress and it almost becomes like a second date and they prolong. Like dates, you want to build up the time. So a first date, the ideal time is say 20, 30 minutes. This is why dinner and a movie is a real bad idea. Dinner takes a long time when you go to a restaurant because you have to go, they bring you the bread, they ask you what you want, they come back 10 minutes later, ask you if you're ready for your food, and you order your food, you gotta wait another 10 to 15 minutes, you're gonna eat for 15, 20 minutes, then you get the check, then you gotta go, and next thing you know it's time for a movie. And a lot of times in these dinner and a movie idea dates, when one party is not interested, there's always an excuse to get out, and they always have an excuse ready because they don't even want to be committed to the full however many hours. As I said, if you're a mark and they recognize you as a mark, sure, I've always wanted to see this movie, free meal in a movie just to sit around this guy, sure, I'll take it. So this is why you don't want to even have a date that has the ability to go that long for your first date. So something like this is much better. It's very low commitment. It's a cup of coffee, okay? So you can be done with the date 20, 30 minutes. You're seeing if there's any progression within that 20 to 30 minute time frame. If there is, cool. If not, it was a low commitment date. It took 30 minutes of your time. I don't see a problem with paying for the opposite person's coffee. I believe like if you invite somebody out, you should pay. Always, see, I always believe in checking to see if they're willing to pay too. Like if you take somebody on a date, just to kind of see where they are, if they're willing to pay for their own and you stop them. To me, that's just one of those red flag things because some people just have that expectation that you're supposed to do all these things for me because I'm special, and so that's one of those red flag things for me. I'm not saying that they have to pay. I'm saying I'm willing to step in, but I always do kind of use that as a test to see how is this person going to look at this? Are they going to offer to pay for their own? All these things. And your whole goal is to make progress. It is an interview process. You are seeing if this person's compatible with you, they are seeing the same thing. So it's an interview process. Now, when you're on a date like this, the reason this is much better than dinner and a movie, because at dinner, somebody's stuffing their face the whole time. Thus, there's not a lot of conversing going on. And in a movie, there's absolutely no conversing going on because you're watching the movie. So this right here actually opens up a conversation piece. Now, the reason why a lot of people fail on first dates or get thrown into, oh, you're a nice guy and blah, 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 and, you'd be a really good friend, is because they don't say anything interesting to the woman. And also, let's go back to the other picture and for a second so we can take a look at something else here, okay, on why this is better than this. This is a giant picture, so just give me a second to reduce it here. One of the bad things about this picture that a lot of people won't notice because they don't think about this is look at how far apart they are. Look at this. They're sitting across from each other. That's actually not good. Sitting across from somebody is not good. You want to sit, like this picture shows, next to them. The reason that next to them is better is because this opens up physical connections. When you're talking about something, you can grab them on the arm, you can tap, you can grab, put your hand on their thigh as you're explaining the story to them. Physical connections is very important to attraction. Number one, it shows that I'm willing to, take a risk to test the boundary here. And a guy who's kind of a friend, who's trying to respect that space, because as I said, if she's mad at you for touching her forearm, she's mad at you for touching like her leg, like that's letting you know like she's probably not into you. And so you're kind of getting those signals, but it's also letting them know that I am not in this to be a friend. Physical connection is one of the easiest ways to explain to a girl that I don't want to take you out as a friend. Like, this is not what I'm here to do. And that's one of the things that you always want to try to accomplish. As I said, you're not groping, you're not grabbing their thigh and squeezing it and things like that. You're just kind of, making these these physical contact, and it allows, because they're side by side, it makes it so much easier. Okay, so that's just one of the reasons why this is also better. This picture is also better. So, as I said, the problem with a lot of guys in this piece right here in the first date, where they get friend zoned or they're told they're a nice guy, is because their conversing skills are bad. They do the same things that everybody else does. Where do you work? How many brothers and sisters do you have? Do you get along with your mother? Did you call your mother for Mother's Day? Things like that. These lame questions that nobody really cares about at the end of the day. Right now, because this is a short first date, honestly, occupation's not even that important yet either, anyway. Like, if you don't feel like revealing your occupation at this time, that's fine. It's a first date. So you can just kind of say, you're in an injury. You don't need to be specific. That's not something that you need to ask somebody right off the jump. First date is not about that. First date is really just testing to see if you guys can create interest in each other. So this is where, you need to start thinking outside the box with questioning. Now, I'm, for example, one of those people that I know how to just pull things out on the fly depending on the situation. I'm always adapting whenever I would take women out on a first date. So as I explained to you all before, and my ring has popped up here, I'm married. Like, somehow, some way, when my wife and I went out on our first date, we got into a whole conversation about Hitler and the fact that, how Germany felt for this guy, and how indeed he was a great leader for Germany at the time. Like, sure, we're not saying that he's a great guy. Sure, we're acknowledging that he did terrible things, but how Germany was able to rise from where they were, and all of those things. Like, we kind of took it away in left field with that. That was on our first date. So you could imagine that that's not a, what do you do for a living? That's not a, how many brothers and sisters do you have? I don't even think I figured a lot of that stuff out till much later with my now wife. So, as I said, just have organic conversations that can lead to, many different possibilities. If they're a music chick, what type of music would you listen to if you went dancing in the rain? Things like that. Like, if they're a music person, like, you put them in these weird situations. Like, if you had to, those are more interesting because that's something that they're very interested in. So once you kind of figure out, like, this is what they like to do, well, you try to put them in situations that are different so they can kind of give you a response that is, gonna lead to further conversing. It's not just a yes, no. It's not a one-word answer. It's something that can develop and turn into its own story. That's the type of engagement that you want to create on a first date. And you'll be able to determine a lot from somebody based off of these questions. Are they good at expressing their ideas and things like that? Some people do care about that. Does this girl have a brain? Does this guy have a brain? Some people care about stuff like that. So this is the way that you get yourself out of being the same boring guy that she's going out on dates with at all times. Also, don't expect her to only be dating you at the moment. If somebody is dating in the dating process, there's nothing wrong with them dating multiple people. If they're going on a date with you and they're going on a date with somebody else, you can't be upset. As a matter of fact, why are you not doing the same thing? I've been telling you all do not put all your eggs in one basket. So how could you be upset with her when you're supposed to be doing the same thing anyway? Until some woman has earned your exclusive time through a process of dating, you should not be putting all your eggs in one basket. So there's a lot of people who get upset if they go on a date with somebody and she's like, yeah, I went on a date with another person. They kind of feel jealous. Why do you feel jealous when you should be doing the same thing? There's a lot of people, while they're in the dating process, they have a little fling on the side anyway. Because everybody likes to be, I guess, to be taken care of in some way, shape, or form. So they have a fling on the side anyway. So you can't be upset if she is in that process. Just like you should probably be in the same process anyways. That should make perfect sense to you. And so a lot of guys, they get mad over things like this. They get into a bad mood because in their eyes, this is the perfect girl for me. She is so pure. She is so beautiful. They have pedestaled this girl to believe that she is so different, that she was saving herself for you. And if she's not, then she's trash. And that's the wrong way to approach it. So don't ever do that. Okay? That will destroy any good conversing that you had going on if you hold her to a higher standard than normality. Because she's just a normal human being, and she's going to want to do the things that normal human beings are doing, which is what you should be doing anyway. Okay? So, as I said, the conversation piece is very important. And you need to make sure, as I said, even if you just Google like different intriguing questions and use some of those to at least start opening the door to an endless possibility of a different approach than, what is your job? Do you like your job? How many brothers do you have? Do you get along with them? What's your relationship like with your mother? Do you have a picture of your mother? Those are boring questions that nobody really wants to talk about. People usually don't go out to talk about work anyway, so why would you even bring it up? Try to make the date different. Try to make it more exciting. By the time the date is getting within 10 minutes into the date, the expression, if you're doing things right, should look like this. Boom. They are having the time of their life. He is making her feel so good about being around him. He's making her feel like we're having the time of our life, that this is what I mean on a first date can extend past the half-hour point. And look what they did. They went out and got ice cream for a first date. They went out and got ice cream. No commitment. Very short. 30 minutes in, you're out. Hour, if it's going really good, you could push it closer to an hour. Do not even hit minute 60. If that means if you see 59 minutes going off, you need to close that date ASAP. Alright? Now, this is, of course, barring that, if some dudes are like, oh, she's ready to go, and if that's what you want, boom, I'm not going to hate on you. But I'm talking about if you're trying to end a first date on a good note. You do not want dates to drag on, especially a first date. You do not want a first date to drag on longer than it needs to. If you do that, it has an easy inclination to start to hit a downward spiral. After all this work you put in, taking it out, boom, it can drop really quickly. So, even, and as I said, you should be busy anyway. If you've been listening to my other episodes, you should be busy anyway, to the point where it won't even be a lie to say, hey, well, I'm having a great time, but you know what? I really got to go because, I've got something I need to take care of. There's nothing wrong with that. You should be busy. and they should understand that you're taking the time out of your day to come and see them, during your busy schedule. There's nothing wrong with that, and so don't feel that there is something wrong with that. All right. So this is, as I said, now if it is a special date, like some dates can become special dates, you can take it beyond that 30-minute mark, like this one. But as I said, how do you still keep it in the realm? Because you're not going to stay at the ice cream parlor for a long time. Well, go take a walk. Go take a walk. You can have a first date like taking a walk in the park with some bread to go feed some ducks. That is a first date. There's not a lot of commitment to it. If the person needs to leave, they can leave. If you're not feeling each other, you're not committed to sticking around for the dinner. If you're not feeling each other, there's no movie that you have to sit next to this person for 2.5 hours. There's no commitment. Those dates should be like second dates. And what I mean by that is, like how we said, the first date time limit is about 30 minutes. The second date time limit should be pushed to about an hour. So dinner and a movie, it goes beyond an hour. So choose either dinner. Actually, don't do the movie, because I said there's no more talking in the movie. Like, at least at dinner, if you go to a nicer dinner, which I still wouldn't recommend, I would still keep it as in something like this. Go to a happy hour. Go to a happy hour. Grab a couple of drinks and sit around and talk. At a happy hour that fits your style, that fits your comfort zone. Or if your first date was good enough, who knows? A lot of times they invite you out to something that's in their element. And just be willing to be open-minded to their element. But just make sure it is something that is not time, like that is not, you have to commit too much time. Like, you want to keep the first couple of dates short with little commitment, so if things aren't working well, there's a way out. If you get to a third date, dinner is now something that seems like a realistic idea. Like, you can go out for a dinner. And it doesn't even need to be the fanciest of fancy restaurants. There's no need to take her to a $100 steakhouse with, $200 bottle of wines, things like that. There's no need for that. I'm saying just take them to just a nice restaurant, like a Papa Do's or something like that. And for some of you, that might be too, I don't know about that. And that's fine. If it's below Papa Do's levels, you're still fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But don't ever feel the necessity to. If you feel the pressure to do those things, then this is probably not the right person for you. Okay? This is the goal that you were trying to achieve. This picture. And this was accomplished because this person knew how to entertain that person through questioning, and this person was able to do it with just ice cream. Okay? This is a reality. Don't sit here and think that this couldn't happen in real life. This happens all the time in real life when somebody meets somebody that they are genuinely interested in, who has engaged them, who has increased their interest in them over a scoop of ice cream. This could be you if you play your cards right, if you create the intrigue. And all it takes is ice cream. So what is that, $3 maybe? That's a total of $6. Because a lot of you may be thinking, I don't even have a lot of money. $6. Alright? If it doesn't work, you lost $3. Charge it to the game, move on. Happy hour, same thing. A drink costs $3. Coffee. Unless you're going to Starbucks getting these super frate latte, whatever the hell they are, I don't drink coffee. I don't know, $5 maybe, because I know Starbucks is expensive. $5. Alright? And if you invited her out, there's nothing wrong with you paying. As I said, see if she's willing to go, and then she's like, no, I invited you out. I got this. There's nothing wrong with that. So, these are ideal first dates. The other one is the magical fairy tale. You want the ideal, I'm doing it correctly one. You don't want the fairy tale. The fairy tale one has so many chances to go wrong. And you're overcommitting to something that you don't know is investing the same into you. You never invest more than someone's investing into you. If you want to know a general rule of thumb of dealing with people, do not invest more than somebody is investing into you. That will save you a lot of time when deciding, is this woman or man right for me? Do not invest more time into someone than they are willing to invest into you. And that's why these first dates will help you out a lot. Because if I invested $3 into this date and you start getting on my nerves, or you're saying stuff that's ridiculous, whatever, it's $3. But if I went to an expensive dinner and had a movie, and the expensive dinner is real expensive, and you're getting on my nerves, I still have to pay for that expensive dinner. I've invested way more into you than you're willing to invest into me, through signs of respect, through signs of any of those things. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, don't do it. Create this magical situation. It can be done. You have to believe in yourself that you can create this magical situation. Last thing I'm going to leave you with for our first date. You want to end a first date with a cliffhanger, okay? Like, I don't like how Marvel movies leave you with some type of cliffhanger at the end of them, all right? I'm sure everybody's seen one of these Marvel movies. Whether you like them or not, you've probably seen one, but they all try to leave you with some cliffhanger, all right? So that's kind of what you want to do, some post-credits cliffhanger that you want to leave them with. Now, not every woman's into the idea of kissing on the first date, which is fine. If everything went well, she shouldn't have a problem giving you a hug. And as I said, you're trying to create some type of physical connection as well, to bypass friendship, to bypass friend zone. You're trying to create some type of physical connection as well. So, there's nothing wrong with a hug. You should know if a woman wants to kiss you. If a woman wants to kiss you, don't be afraid to kiss her. There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you need to leave the mystery, and sometimes you shouldn't, right? Because there is something about getting a woman excited for things like that, and then saying, no, like, we're going to do this the next time. You're leaving that idea of, man, why didn't you kiss me? I want to know how it feels to kiss him. Well, you'll get that chance when you come out with me again. There is that hint of mystery that you can leave to yourself that gets a woman excited, right, to come see you again. And so those are things that you can do to help yourself out. But going back to the thing, the leaving the cliffhanger behind. So, as I said, if you end a date with a hug, as you walk to your car or whatever, walk them to their car or drop them off or whatever you do, like within a couple of minutes of you being away, so there's no reaction that you can get from that person, you just send a text message like, I had a wonderful time. I cannot wait to hold you in my arms again and see your beautiful piercing eyes looking back at me. Right? You leave that. Something that you genuinely want to compliment her on, that doesn't seem that it's lustful, right? I'm talking about her eyes, right? I'm talking about holding her in my hand, smelling her hair again. Something that you genuinely want to compliment her on that is not lustful. If you send a message like that and everything went well and that's it, you'd be surprised the reaction they can get. That's that cliffhanger. That's that, oh man, he didn't kiss me, but he did. He's very interested in me. You kill that little bit of confusion and you let her know, I'm coming in. I'm coming for you. You do something like that and there is no worry about ever being in the friend zone. That is something that you will never have to worry about. So then the next time you see her, if she's willing to go out with you again after you've said that, Sure, physical contact now gets to go, right? You get to improve on the physical contact. All right, so those are tips to making a first date more exciting than what the normal people do. And this is how you create a good first date versus the same boring Bob first date that women are used to. You want to be you. You don't want to be me. So that means you need to become the best you that you can so that you can talk interest into the mind of the person you're dating. You want to create that interest through your conversing. So you can't be me. There's nothing I can tell you to say. You have to be you, but you just have to make sure you're representing the best you. All right? And the best you is not a mask. Because remember, on the first date, you're trying to peel back layers of these masks that we always introduce ourselves with. All right? Now, I try myself to be me all the time, but there are people that when you're meeting them, you're being their representative, or who they want you to believe they are. And on the first date, second date, you're trying to peel those layers back anyway, so you can start finding out who this person is and if this person and you click. All right? So, there goes my advice for y'all today. The first date. This is Art of Attraction Thursdays. This is Crash with Dash. Start checking me out live Thursdays, 9 Eastern, twitch.tv/Crash with Dash. And you can ask questions live. Come chop it up with me. And I do appreciate your time. And go out there and have yourself some wonderful first dates. Peace.